Here we are, final day of week 1 on emerging strategies. So, worked on some pin squats and deadlifts today. Pretty much the opposite of day 3, where day 3 is mostly upper body. This is mostly a lower body day. Variations included in this workout would be pin squats, like you're seeing here, and the main reason I chose to do pin squats was, like I mentioned in, I think it was the first video where I was doing some beltless low bar squats. I have a really bad habit of falling forward as weight progresses and fatigue increases, and these are just a variation that allows me to stay a bit more honest with what I'm doing when I'm coming up out of the bottom position of the squat. So if the pins weren't there, likely what would happen is I would rebound out, chest would fall. Like, you can see a little bit of it as it's happening, but where the pins are set up, it eliminates all momentum from the bar, so I have to generate all the force out of the bottom to break inertia to get the bar to raise off of a dead stop. And what it does is it kind of forces you to put force directly into the bar rather than lean forward and let your back do the work. It is a very punishing exercise for people that have a very similar squat pattern to me, where you tend to fall forward a bit. But like I said, it just keeps you honest, and it's a good way to increase the overall intensity of the workout without having to add more weight to the bar. Like you can see, I'm struggling a bit with 315, where my 1 rep max on squat is, I think it was like 505 last time I tested my 1 rep max. So it's almost a 200-pound decrease from my 1 rep max, and doing it for sets of 5, and it is still pretty difficult. And when you're training for powerlifting or just in general strength training, you don't always have to train super close to your 1 rep max to make progress. One of the main drivers of a strength adaptation is how intense the workout is, and that could be modified through many different things. Usually I try to stay between like a 7 to 9 RPE, so rate of perceived exertion. Sometimes going up towards a 10 when we get close to competition, or even if we're doing like a kind of like a mock competition. But overall, most of my training is around 7 to 9, which allows me to recover between workouts and still be able to train pretty hard, or hard enough to get a strength adaptation each time I step into the gym. Another thing that you're going to see me doing in this workout is beltless deadlifts in a conventional stance. So for anyone that's not in the powerlifting community, there's 2 competition styles of deadlift, really. It's a whole spectrum, so there's people that fall in between these 2 extremes, but conventional, as you can see here, is when your arms are outside of your legs, and then sumo is the opposite, where you're in a wider stance and your arms are inside your legs. So main reason I'm doing some beltless conventional work is because I find it kind of shores up the weaknesses of most sumo pullers, where a lot of sumo deadlifters tend to use a lot more leg and glute. It's just a different movement pattern, but conventional I find is much harder for me. So being able to train that movement and get stronger at it is very similar to the pin squats, in that it allows me to increase the intensity of a workout without having to add extra weight to the bar, which allows me to just recover between workouts a bit easier, considering like how heavy I tend to go in comparison to the weight that I was just lifting there. But finishing off the workout, just some sets of 20 on rows and some leg raises, because after 2 big movements like squats and deadlifts, I find that there's not a whole lot left in the tank. So being able to do just some pretty basic exercises for very low weight, higher reps, just gets a little bit of work in for some neglected muscle groups. But yeah, that's pretty much today's training, coming up week 1. So I'll start back on week 2 next week, and hope you guys tune in then.